All right. I think I am live, perhaps. I have no idea, actually. Hello, everybody. This is my first ever attempt at a live stream by myself with my own computer, um, not on a mobile phone while I'm out in an auto show or something like that. So I actually have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying out a little program called StreamYard, which I've been using with Ting and Mr. P on our live stream podcast about Neo. And I hope it's working well. I actually don't know, but I hope so. Oh, it looks like 2 people are watching, so it appears to be. Please, somebody leave a comment. Let me know everything's good to go. Um, Basically, I just want to have a little live stream celebration. I even have a beer, which I almost never drink beer or anything for that matter anymore. I haven't had a beer in a long time. I've got about half of it left. I started the celebration a little bit early, but it's a celebration for reaching 20,180 something subscribers at this point now. It only took me like 7 or 8 or 9 years on YouTube. So I just really want to say thank you, everybody. We're halfway to 100,000, more or less. Cheers. So tonight, what I want to do is just answer a few of the questions. I didn't get very many because nobody asked. I don't know what your guys' problem is. But let's just jump right into it. And if anybody is here watching, make sure you do leave a comment and I can answer your question as we go, comment or question. So I have a few questions here and I don't know how to share them on the screen because I'm an idiot. I'm basically a boomer. So we're going to start with not this one. One of them I got to end with. Let me see. Let me go this way. Okay, let's just start with this one, just a random one. Somebody asked, "Where are all the homeless people or homeless encampments?" Oh, wait, they're in the USA. That question doesn't really pertain to me, but there are homeless people in China. I know you're going to see a lot on YouTube. A lot of people are going to say there's no people in China. That's not quite the case. It's not true. There are homeless people. It's just a lot fewer. Every country has homeless problem. Uh, in fact, I saw a homeless person today sleeping in the little tunnel under the subway in Shenzhen. So, it's just nonsense propaganda. People are going to be telling you that every Chinese person is taken care of. It's not quite the truth. But there are far fewer homeless people in China. I already got a question from Jojo. Hello, Jojo. Thank you for joining here. Am I going to cover the Xiaomi SU7? Maybe. It's a great question. Maybe I will try to do a test drive. Right now, it's very difficult to do a test drive of the Xiaomi. It's very high demand. And the other issue is I'm actually leaving China in 2 days. In 2 days, I will be going back to Japan, and I will be in Japan for probably about a month. I'm going to try to finish my pilgrimage that I started last year. And I'll probably talk more about that as we go on this little live stream. I don't know if you saw Jojo last year. I was on a pilgrimage. It's called Shikoku 88. It's one of the islands of Japan. There's 88 temples. It's about 1,250 kilometers of walking. And I started it last year, but due to some challenges, I had to stop. But I'm going to go finish it starting in about 2 days. So probably in a month, I'll come back to China and I'll have a better opportunity to drive the SU7. But we'll see. So let's go to the next question. Somebody said, "What is your length in centimeters?" Very odd question. I think they're talking about the BYD seal. Either way, I'm not going to answer it because I don't know it. But yeah, very strange question. All right. So Ricky asked me about my cafe. If anybody doesn't know, I used to have a cafe in China. I opened it right before COVID hit, like December 2019. It was in Yunnan and Sichuan, and so he has some questions about the cafe. I'll read it for you guys. He says, "Thanks for the content. I was curious if you thought your cafe would be successful if you opened it today." He says he lived in China for several years around 2008, and he's been considering going back and opening a place. The goal would be for it to be a labor of love that slowly turned into a modest passive income. I wouldn't need to see profit short term or midterm, and I would have plenty of local support from my in-laws. Thanks again, and look for a Jays hat. No, Giants hat all day, every day. But thanks for the question, Ricky. I do appreciate that. Do I think my cafe would be a success today? I thought about that a lot. I thought about opening up another business in China, maybe a different location, of course. Um, I think that, I faced a lot of challenges. I guess I'll back up a little bit. Once COVID hit and I closed my cafe for a few months, um, it was it, at that point it was all out of my hands what was going to happen. Uh, Prices got out of control. Things like because I was making my own hamburgers, making my own pizza, everything from scratch. I was importing beef from South America, Argentinian beef for my hamburgers. So it was like high quality stuff. If anybody hasn't seen those videos, you can go back probably about 4 or 5 years now and check some of them. Um, I don't even remember how much like of my food I actually showed. I was mostly talking about the business and how horrible it was. Um, but yeah, the cost of like food and ingredients went up a lot, and it was very hard to get ingredients in from importing them. So it was a challenge, and then more of a challenge was also because of everything. Like I had to try to think of ways to get new customers in, and I started doing things that I didn't really want to do in terms of like menu. My initial goal personally was to just have a very small menu. I really just wanted to do hamburgers. Um, you can have coffee, whatever, like a cafe, but like a burger bar was like my first ever idea. And then, because I could make hamburgers, I used to work in a hamburger shop making hamburgers from scratch. It didn't seem like a challenge to me, and my burgers were good. Everybody loved my burgers. Anybody who may be here, who may know me, they've tried my burgers, they're going to tell you they're very good. So I guess the long story short is if I was going to do another cafe in China, another business in China, I would stick to just what I know how to do. I might do pizza again. I don't know, probably not. There's a lot of pizza shops in China, but there's not really that many really good hamburger shops, especially in smaller cities. The only other hamburger shop was KFC and McDonald's when I opened my business. So, and there was one kind of craft brewery that has burgers, but they were very, very Chinese in nature. So I think that it would have been a good opportunity. It probably would have been successful. My first month that I opened, almost every day I was slammed. I was making money like right away. Of course, that's a new business. It might not last forever. But then COVID hit, it was like 3 weeks into it, and it kind of screwed everything. So yes, I think that potentially I could have success. I was thinking opening in Hainan, maybe in Wanning, um, where it's a beach town. A lot of foreigners go. A lot of more like westernized kind of Chinese people would go, and it's still pretty affordable in terms of like cost of rent compared to somewhere like Shanghai. Hmm. Maybe someday. Right now, I'm not really into it. I want to do other things with my life at the moment. Hello, JCF. Hang on one second. I'll get to your question. As far as finishing off this answer with Ricky4990. Uh, if you want your business to be a labor of love and have a slow, modest passive income, and you're doing a restaurant, it's never going to be passive. Every day there's something new, whether like the oven breaks or the espresso machine, or you're always constantly ordering food. I know you said your in-laws would help. It's not that they're going to help; they're going to have to run it if you want it to be passive. So I don't know your situation, but don't ever think of a restaurant as passive, because every day it never ends. It literally never ends. There's always new food to order, things to clean, things to cook. It's a lot of work. Yeah. What's up, Johan? Everybody's got a name starting with J. Jojo, JCF, and Johan. Once again, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for helping me achieve 20,000 subscribers. YouTube thing, thank you as well. You don't start with a J. So the JCF asked about the process of getting a visa to move to China. I believe it would be really relatively quick. I think they even have like a fast track option. It depends on also how close you live to a Chinese embassy or consulate. I first came to China in 2012. I live in California. When I first applied for a work visa to come to China, I remember it took a couple weeks, maybe only a week. But I drove to San Francisco to the US or the Chinese consulate or Chinese embassy that's in San Francisco, applied in person. And I believe I had to drive back to it and pick it up. I think it was probably a week, 10 days. If you have a a job lined up, they're going to help you plan everything like that, plan your visa, help you get all the paperwork done. If you don't live near a consulate or embassy, or maybe if you're in a different country than the United States, I'm not really sure necessarily how it works. I know you can mail your paperwork to the embassy in America. There's visa companies, visa agencies that do it for you. But I can't tell you exactly how long it would take. I wouldn't think that long. I think there is, like I said, also fast track. You pay extra money. Maybe you can turn it around in 3 days, something like that. I don't know. You can always apply for a business visa if you don't have a job. Again, it depends on your country. So, what's up, everybody? I know Neo is good. Does it set too high for success in sales? I'm not quite sure I'm clear on your question, Jojo. Sorry. What do you mean, does it set a too high of a success in sales? Please clarify and I will try to answer. I have another question here from somebody. Somewhere. Actually, I have a comment from Kelsey Roy, not a question. They say anybody can quit their jobs and be financially independent and retire early. Believe me, I'm not going to try to sell you a course. He says, or she says, within 10 years, if you have the discipline, perseverance, and the desire to stay alive while not making your bosses rich at your expense. I guess I kind of agree with that. Not, like I said, not really a question, and not here to sell you a course. Because somebody else also asked me, what's my job? So I would say I'm retired, but I don't really. It's really hard to answer that question because I'm 39 years old right now. I haven't worked a proper job since I was like 34-ish, 35, somewhere around there before I opened my cafe. I wasn't planning to retire necessarily. I was going to run my cafe that we just talked about. And then that failed. It failed. There's no other way to talk about it. It failed. Some reasons beyond my control, some within my control. And since then, COVID, lasted another 2 years or so in China after that. And so I didn't really want to try to work in China at that time. So I don't know. It's complicated, but right now I'm kind of like retired. So that's my job, is retired. But I'm doing obviously YouTube, which makes me a very, very small sum of money every month, usually somewhere like $400. But I don't put too much time into my YouTube, as you guys can probably tell. And I also make money in other ways. We could talk about white monkey jobs if anybody's interested. I don't do them necessarily anymore because for legal purposes, I should say that. But there are quite a few still opportunities to be a white person in China. I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me get back to these questions here in the comments currently. So the price of Neo, Jojo's asking, yeah, it's quite high. The economy still is not very good in China. For the past few months, I haven't spent that much time in China, to be honest. I've been in Philippines and Thailand, and I feel like I've been somewhere else too, but I can't remember. Maybe that's it. And like I said, I'm going to Japan in 2 days. But from my perspective, kind of being around China, still, it's not that good. It's not picking up. So in terms of the cost of a Neo, it's tough. And the other thing is people don't want pure electric cars right now, ever since most of the subsidies went away, basically last year. People see extended range EVs, plug-in hybrid cars, to be almost more of a status symbol, a luxury than a fully electric car, even though electric cars tend to be more expensive. I think it's because you kind of get, fuel and electricity. It's kind of like cool. It's like you have both. It seems like it's more, and more equals better in some people's eyes. Or maybe they just feel like they don't understand the infrastructure, how to charge their car. So it's just have a good safety net to have backup, have a gas tank. I'm not sure everybody's different perspective here, but I think in terms of the cost of a Neo, because it's fully electric and because it's very expensive, it's kind of a hard thing to sell right now. If they had a plug-in hybrid, I'm sure they would sell a crap load of them because their cars are very, very nice compared to their competitors in terms of the material quality and build quality. Even like the software, like I was driving the BYD, obviously it's a different segment, but the software was quite poor, I would say, just not refined maybe compared to the Neo. So I don't know, it's tough. It's quite tough. But I think with the sub brand with Onvo and with Firefly, hopefully it will help them succeed if you are an investor in Neo, which I am. I'm not super worried about them currently. I'm more worried about like China. If China doesn't recover, or if China, you know, does anything silly, or if there's another pandemic, then it might be very, very difficult. But I think we're okay with Neo for now. It also depends on where you bought in. If you bought in at 60, it might be tough. But if you bought in at, I bought in first at 19. I bought some on the way up, some on the way down. My average is like 13 or 12 right now. I'm not super duper worried about it. But we'll see. Okay, next question. Johan. Hello, Johan. You're still here. So you used to live in Shenzhen for 10 years, and you're now in Europe. Europe's great. I love Europe. You're going back to Shenzhen for a couple months soon to sort out some things. Looking forward to being back. And you hope to find some products. You want to find products to sell or to do what with? Are you like an exporter or wholesaler or something like that? Anyway, that's interesting because, yeah, like if you're into like electronics, for example, Huaqiangbei and Shenzhen, you're probably well aware. It's like a very big electronics market here in Shenzhen. That's where everybody goes to pick up computer parts or phone cases or phones, all that kind of stuff. You can meet a lot of factories or the representatives of factories there. Um, Huaqiangbei is a disaster. If you go there now, it's completely dead. It used to be just like thriving place with vendors everywhere. It's different. Times have changed. Everything's moved online for the most part in China. So there's not necessarily a need for like shop fronts and like kind of like consumer facing stalls for people to find a vendor. They have Alibaba, AliExpress, all that stuff. But still, you have these massive like essentially shopping malls that are just completely dead. Everything's closed. It's kind of depressing. And it's not just Huaqiangbei. It's a lot of places in China and Shenzhen. You're going to be in for quite a surprise if you've been to some of those places in Shenzhen before and you're going to come back. If it's been 10 years, right? It's going to be a massive change. All right, YouTube thing. So this is Rick. You're still considering the move. You thought about some things I said. It's a smaller city famous for being one of the holy mountains, a guest house restaurant. Okay, so I'm not sure where exactly you're talking about. There are, especially if you're a foreigner and you have like a Chinese spouse, like it seems you have a Chinese family, there are quite a few almost like famous foreigner run guest houses in different um, smaller towns and villages. Like if you go out to Yunnan, especially, you can find people on like Xiaohongshu or Chinese internet who are foreigners who run a guest house and kind of famous. They have good business, so I think it's a good thing to consider. Probably smarter than just doing a restaurant and hoping that's a passive income. But it also depends on how much you want to put yourself out there and how nice the place is. Of course, like all those kind of famous foreigner-run guest houses are very maybe not necessarily luxurious, but they're I would say kind of set apart in some ways from a typical Chinese run guest house. Not just because they have a foreigner, just but the kind of the style, the amenities, it's more of like a Western focus, but maybe like a mixture with Chinese. They sometimes are pretty cool. Mm, I'm sure anybody who's been to China knows sometimes sometimes Chinese like hotels or guest houses or restaurants or any place. I'm not gonna say they cut corners necessarily, but um, it might look nice just when you're looking at it, and then underneath the surface, it might not be as nice as you would expect. Like, so if you're looking at pictures on like C-Trip for a hotel or a guest house that you want to go to, it might look quite nice. And then you get there, it might actually have a few problems that didn't necessarily show up in the pictures. Um, and I'm not saying all foreigners that run a business in China either are going to like not cut corners or do everything perfect. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think people kind of get the point. Taishan, cool. Taishan's nice. If so, okay, going to let's go with Johan's back to Johan. So you're into investments, but friends have factories and they want me to help them export to Europe. So again, it depends on the industry. I don't have a lot, any expertise or any knowledge about exporting things at all. I do have some knowledge, work experience with factories. When I worked in the kind of wedding company, we used to have to do a lot of going to factories to deal with like not high tech things, but like photo albums or picture frames, those sorts of things. And like I said, I could talk about white monkey jobs at some point tonight if we have time and people are interested. But I have done some like white monkey type stuff at factories before as well. So I don't have that much experience with factory. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if you do, then good for you. But nothing. I have no knowledge about exporting, so I'm sorry about that. If it is electronics though, and it's Shenzhen, Huaqiangbei, go there and check out and see how it's changed if you've been there before. How is Peking duck in China? From Rahul. Hello, Rahul. Peking duck, Beijing duck, very very good. Crispy skin. They got like a little sugar. You can dip it in like a black sauce. I'm not sure what the sauce is actually called. You know, I don't usually eat duck to be honest, but it is good. And if you go to Beijing, Rahul, have you ever been there? Try it out. There's some really really good duck, and you can wrap it in like a tortilla. Basically, make a little taco. Has like I guess some sort of green vegetable. I can't remember. I haven't had Peking duck in so long. They have like little strips of vegetable you can put in it with the sauce and the little sugar, and it's really, really nice. But I definitely don't eat Peking duck when I'm in Guangdong or in southern China. That's not something I do. Here in Guangdong, we would usually eat like roast goose, which is pretty good and kind of similar, or lots of duck, like spicy duck, like yabozi, duck neck, mm, things like that. A traditional field courtyard hostel in like in Beijing. Yeah, those are always really, really nice. Not always, but those are generally really nice and usually do quite well. And what kind of food are you thinking about serving? Chinese food or like Western food? That's a question. Because if it's a traditional courtyard style guest house, Chinese style with like hamburgers might kind of not match, but I don't know. Might be interesting too. Might people might find it kind of fascinating. Like I was always thinking about actually because here in Guangdong, like in Hong Kong, southern China, they have a lot of they call them like da pai dang, where they like eat outside, lots of tables, kind of like not high quality necessarily, and a lot of beer being drunk and everything like that. And I was actually thinking about if I did like a da pai dang style hamburger shop, like hamburger and beer shop, it might be kind of cool with just the plastic chairs, plastic tables. So it's like kind of like a fusion of style of like Chinese style with Western food instead of like fusion food, it's like fusion architecture and design kind of. Also, Da Pai Dang are like always really, really like crappy decorations, so the renovation cost would be very, very cheap. So that was kind of my idea. Might be cool. So there could be like a thought there for like a fusion Chinese style courtyard Ming Dynasty or whatever hotel with Western food. I don't know. Lots of cool things could happen. Wood fire pizza would be good too. You really can't go wrong with pizza. I used to sell a lot of pizza in my restaurant. Um, I would say the biggest problem with pizza in China, generally speaking, if there's not a lot of foreigners around, is they always want durian pizza or like something with corn. And that's fine. You can do it if you want to do it. I tried to do it. I tried to cater to their tastes, but it wasn't really my thing. Like I really wanted to do like I said, like a burger bar, like American style, beer and burgers, bacon cheeseburgers, that sort of thing. But yeah, if you want to serve your customers, or if you have a lot of foreign customers, then it might be all right. But you really got to consider what the locals want to eat. In a place like Shanghai or Guangdong or even Beijing, people are more used to foreign flavors. When I was in Sichuanbana, a lot of people hadn't ever had like a real hamburger before, besides KFC or besides McDonald's, which isn't even obviously a real hamburger. It's like frozen patty, mass-produced bun. It's totally different. So they would come in and be like freaked out about the size of it and the taste of it, and they loved it. A lot of them. But a lot of people might not even try it because they're kind of afraid to try something new. Not afraid, but you know, they're used to eating their local food every day. Okay, more questions coming in. So, is my mom enjoying the Neo car in Germany? She did enjoy the Neo. She's obviously not in Germany right now. We drove around for 2 weeks together in the ET7, and she quite liked the Neo. She thought it was very nice compared to her Tesla, much more comfortable. And she was always saying, at least for a while, she was saying, "Oh, if Neo launches in America, I will be glad to trade in my Tesla and get a Neo." But obviously, that's probably not happening. Also, I think her Tesla is probably down about like 60 or 70% in value from when she bought it during COVID. So probably not a good idea. I mean, she doesn't have a loan on it or anything like that, but she probably doesn't want to take that bath on that price if Neo did come. But who knows? We'll see. Jojo says my construction worker joke was epic. I appreciate that. I guess we could talk about Ben Dan. Let's talk about Ben Dan later. Let's finish the restaurant stuff. So Rick says YouTube thing says first pizza in China in 27 had ketchup, peas, and corn. So yeah, that's what I mean. You gotta you gotta accept that the locals might have a different kind of idea about what pizza is, and when they come into your restaurant and they see your menu, if you're doing like wood fired like Neapolitan pizzas from Italy, is a margarita pizza or diavola or something like that. Like they might not know what they're looking at. They might not even want to order. They might come in, look at the menu, and leave. So you might have to have your corn and ketchup pizza also on the menu, or your durian pizza. So it's just something to consider if you do want to do business in China. Like you can't necessarily stick to your guns. Johan also asks, "Do I plan to move to China?" Well, I'm in China right now. I kind of have like China as a temporary base. I can't really stay here all the time, but it's like a home base. I'm so used to being in China, even though I tried to leave China so many times. Like I tried to make my escape, I call it, but there's always so many opportunities for me here. Again, like I said, we can talk about kind of jobs and ways to make money. Somebody ask a question. Please, somebody ask a direct question about that at some point, and I'll try to answer it. But I don't really want to work in China. Working in China is kind of tough. When I worked both my two jobs from 2012 to like 2018. I worked so many hours. I drank so much alcohol. I worked nonstop. It was pretty terrible. You can make money here, but I don't think it's the life I necessarily want to live. I don't think it's worth it. So I don't know. I don't necessarily want to live full time in China, but I will probably always, as long as I can, often come to China. I have friends here all over the country. It's a good place. It's not bad. People should come visit. Okay. Can foreigners join the CCP? I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't know. I never looked into it. I don't really look into too much of the politics of that sort of thing, to be honest with you. All right, so let's go back to JoJo with the construction worker and Ben Dan. I, I made like I guess maybe like two more Ben Dan videos, kind of. Ben Dan means like stupid, like an idiot in China. So I said I was Benjamin Daniels for those who haven't seen it for whatever reason. And I just basically did a parody of a vlog of a typical white Western vlogger, YouTuber in China. Said all the stupid things that they say. Like I pretty much just copied them. It wasn't very hard. I just said the same things they said. um, and I quite enjoyed it to do it one time, but I think maybe like once is enough, once or twice. I think I got my point across. In my mind, I got my point across, and a lot of people understood it. Like obviously, you guys here understood it, but also a lot of people didn't understand it. And I'm not the kind of person that like wants to necessarily like cause drama or cause trouble. Like I don't I don't really want attention, to be honest with you. I know I have a YouTube channel, but, like, I don't really wanna be famous. I don't want a lot of people watching me. I'm not that interested in it. And, I think that my biggest problem with making that is I thought it would be very, very obvious, like, especially for Chinese speakers. I literally said my name is Ben Dan, and I put the Chinese subtitles with my name as Ben Dan in the first 30 seconds of the video, and people still didn't get it. And you can't, like, cater your content to, like, the dumbest among us or, like, the lowest common denominator. I don't wanna call these people dumb. Maybe they're not paying attention. Um, but I feel kinda bad about some of it because, like, people get offended, and I don't know how to I don't want to, like, make people mad. I just wanna have a good time and enjoy myself and hope other people laugh along the way, you know what I mean? So, I did make that other one, the second Ben Dan video, but then I just, like, narrated over it because actually I had a little bit of trouble, like, keeping my stuff straight because I was trying to do, like, my BYD, road trip, like, car review, and then anyway, the SD card died anyway, but I was trying to do that, and then I was trying to do the Ben Dan stuff, and then I was trying to do, like, a normal vlog, like, real life. Um, so I had, like, 3 things going on, 3 topics, 3 versions of me. Like, one where I'm responsible to BYD and, like, try to make good content for them or at least okay content. Like, they didn't pay me or anything, but I wanna not do something terrible and not do Ben Dan. And then I wanna have, like, real content for myself that I wanna share about China because I do like China. I do like sharing things even if people don't watch it. And then I wanted to make, like, the Ben Dan stuff. So I had, like, 3 storylines going in my head on that road trip around from Shenzhen to Beihai to Liuzhou and back, and it was just tough, and then people were, like, commenting all the stupid things. They don't understand it, so I feel like they probably won't do more Ben Dan stuff. I do have one kind of I'll probably post it, we'll see, and then I have one where I talk about it. I have so much stuff I'm filming. I'm, like, in a YouTube kick these days. I don't know why. Anyway. Next question. Jayo is not a question, but hello, Peekaboo. I think I have more questions here on my phone from people. And by the way, thanks everybody for subscribing and joining me here tonight. I really appreciate that. Oh, I have Wei Hong. He just said congrats. Wei Hong is my friend in Malaysia, so I didn't even realize that. Okay, next question is Chinese or Thai girls. Okay. This one very, very difficult to answer because it depends on what you're interested in. And it depends on your stage of life. It depends on a lot of things, actually. Uh, so if the question is Chinese or Thai girls, I'll just say all girls are beautiful and wonderful. And I think that you can't go wrong as long as you pick the right girl. There's good people and bad people, whether it's a girl or a boy, a man or a woman from every country. Now, that being said, I dated a Thai girl. She was beautiful. She was kind. Uh, Lots of great things about her. And she also had a very, very big problem with money. Like, she liked to spend it a lot. And from what I understand from people who've talked to me, lots of Thai girls like to spend money. Um, they want you to, there's always the stories online about the Thai girl that wants you to buy her a water buffalo for her family or whatever. But those are like usually stories about girls that work in a bar. My girlfriend was a flight attendant for Air Asia, so she had a proper job. She wasn't a hooker, but she was severely in debt. She owed a lot of money to people for student loans or something, and owed money to her parents. I don't know. I don't want to share all her business, but that was a big problem for us. And when I met other people in Thailand, friends in Thailand, a lot of them had problems with money. But on the other hand, like I said, it depends on the person because I have a good friend in Thailand who married a Thai girl and they seem to be doing just fine. They just had a baby. Zach, if you're watching, I don't think you are, but hello. Um, and I don't think they have any problems with money, that sort of thing. It all depends on who you date and who you marry. Of course, I've dated and whatever with Chinese girls, and a lot of them are also very nice and kind and beautiful. Same thing with every girl everywhere else in the world. There's good and bad. Uh, if I had my choice between a Thai girl and a Chinese girl, I wouldn't pick one. I would take them both. Okay. Anyway, hope that answers your question. Any more questions? I don't know. Let's check. Anybody here watching got a question for me? I guess not. Oh, what are my favorite places in China? Hey, Will, what's going on, buddy? It's not China driven anymore. What are you doing, man? It's China Wheels Boy 2. What is my favorite place in China? So I'm actually working on a video. Like I said, I'm on a YouTube kick. I'm working on a bunch of videos before I go to Japan in 2 days. I hope I have 5 or 6 videos ready to post every 3 or 4 or 5 days while I'm gone, because I'm not going to be making content, I don't think. Anyway, one of the videos I'm working on is my top 5 favorite old towns or ancient towns in China. And my number 1 favorite ancient town, I guess you could call it a tie. It's Jinyuan in Guizhou and Shaxi in Yunnan. Those 2 places are both absolutely incredible, beautiful places. Shaxi is part of the ancient tea horse trail that connected like southern China with Myanmar and Tibet. So people would walk on that trail, do trade. It's like the kind of like the Silk Route, the Silk Road, Silk Route of northern China, but for Southeast Asia, southern China. Beautiful place. You go there, you still see people, many different ethnic groups, minorities, and a really, really authentic, really well preserved ancient town. It's beautiful. It's in a valley. There's a river running through it. You can walk up, go hiking in the mountains. There's wild monkeys and temples from 500 years ago. It's an amazing place. I recommend everybody go there. And then Jinyuan is a place in Guizhou. It's on a river also, and it's got really, really cool like stone houses, architecture right up against the river. It got ancient bridges. Again, you can hike up the mountain and get a really cool view. Fantastic places. So I hope that answers your question, at least in terms of ancient towns that I think people should go to, and be on the lookout for that video. I'll send you a message when I post it if you're interested, Will. Good places to go. In terms of just normal places, not ancient towns, my favorite places, like we can start with provinces. I would say my favorite provinces are, of course, Yunnan. I love Yunnan. I love Qinghai. Gorgeous, gorgeous vistas. Amazing place to drive. Is Qinghai. Blue, crazy lakes, salt lakes, and white ground. I don't know, white dirt. I don't know what it is. Looks like snow. Mountains and hairy musk ox, whatever they have from Tibet. Crazy place, amazing place, and you're gonna eat like a lot of amazing food. It's gonna be very salty. Anyway, I also really, really enjoy, let's say, northern China in terms of like Inner Mongolia and Gansu and Ningxia. All those places are great as well. But my favorite place, of course, is Yunnan for sure. Sichuan's also very nice. Anywhere west is very good. When it comes to like Eastern China, anybody who's been to China, Eastern China, a lot of it feels very similar, same. It's not all Han Chinese or Han culture, but it can kind of feel very similar. Doesn't mean the places aren't really great, but if you want to like get out of your normal Chinese life and experience a very beautiful place in different languages, different cultures, different foods, you got to go west, really. So yeah. Um, Yeah, it's salt. There's multiple salt lakes. Um, but I remember picking up the ground there, Will, because it was like all white, and I tasted it. It didn't taste salty. The food was salty, but I don't know. Maybe it had evaporated, and I don't know. Maybe I didn't eat enough dirt. Maybe I couldn't taste anything because it was actually when I was at that white ground place. It was during COVID, so maybe I had COVID and I had no sense of taste. I don't know. Um, okay, more questions coming in. Thanks, guys, for joining us and asking questions. Before I get to the most overrated place, Will, let me just say, so I said provinces, I said ancient towns, and now let's say cities. My favorite cities in China Of course, I love Shanghai. I spent 7 years in Shanghai. Amazing place, incredible city. After that, I would say Kunming is my favorite city. That's not like a tier 1 city. I love Kunming so much. Cuihu Lake is incredible, especially on a weekend. It's like a park with so many people and people from all the different local Yunnan ethnic minorities. They go out there and sing and dance. It's just fantastic. And Kunming also has tons of such good food, such good cafes from all over the world. And of course, all the people there are just beautiful people. So I love Yunnan. I love Kunming. What other city is really good? I do like Chengdu. Uh, I don't know. I think Kunming and Shanghai are probably top 2 cities. All right. I do not have a Chinese green card. Shark Shanklank. Okay, back to Will. Okay, the most overrated place in China. The most overrated place in China. Oh, this is gonna get me in trouble. It's gonna get me in trouble. I'll say, not technically China, but Hong Kong is quite overrated. It can become very boring after a few days, which I don't know. I do love Hong Kong. Maybe I just been there too much. It's a great place. Like people always say, the best thing about Shenzhen is that you can go to Hong Kong for a day, which kind of reflects badly on Shenzhen. But it's kind of true. But once you do Hong Kong for a day or two, you're also ready to get back. Um, so I hope people don't get mad at that answer. Other overrated place in China. Hmm. Chongqing right now is like really hot on the internet. Everybody loves Chongqing because it has all the stairs and you can enter on the 7th floor and exit on the 31st floor and only go down 2 levels or whatever. It's like the hot topic. Um, it's not that great in Chongqing, to be honest. It's cool, but it's not amazing. I'd rather be in Chengdu. I think Chengdu's got more of like a really cool, like bohemian, not bohemian vibe, but more of like a bohemian vibe, more of like a multinational influence than Chongqing, which is just like, let's just go and climb stairs and eat hot pot. It's fine. Okay. What else we got? Oh, you said it was Changsha. Yeah, Changsha is cool. I do like Changsha. I've only been there twice, I think. I did spend like a week there. I have a very funny story from Changsha. My first time in Changsha. Let me get to the story from Changsha before I answer Din's choice question about work and background. All right. This is a story I've never told on YouTube, and because we're having a celebration tonight, let's just tell this story. First time I went to Changsha was a business trip. I hope my mom's not watching this live stream. I went to Changsha for a business trip. This was probably like 2015 or something, and it was like a long business trip, like probably like 5 days. I think I got there on like a Thursday, and then I had to stay over the weekend. I think we had like a meeting on Friday, and then I had the weekend off, and then we had more stuff on Monday or Tuesday, something like that. And so I was just bored, and I was swiping on like the dating apps, Momo or Tantan or whatever was the thing at that time. I really shouldn't tell this story. Anyway, so I matched with this girl, like very beautiful, and she was like, I don't know, 500 meters from me or something, right? And this was Saturday morning when I was off work, all that stuff. So it was like Saturday morning, like 9 in the morning, and I matched with this girl, and she's like, "I want somebody to come meet me at this place." It was like a beauty clinic, like Mayrong or what? It's plastic surgery, okay? And she said, like, "I'm scared. I'm going to this place by myself." I said, "Okay, I'll meet you there. I got nothing else to do, and you're only like 500 meters from me." So I walked to this beauty clinic and I met the girl outside, and she's like, I'm scared. I have nobody with me. She's a college girl, 20 years old, something like that. And she's like, I'm coming here to get plastic surgery, to get a breast implants. Okay. So first time I ever met this girl, and I'm at a plastic surgery clinic with her to get breast implants. So she grabs my hand and we walk in holding hands, and she tells like the doctor or whoever else is in there, nurses, "This is my boyfriend, and he's going to be here with me while I get my implants. He's going to take care of me." So yeah, I mean that was our first date, I guess, our only date. I sat in there for like 3, 4 hours, half a day while she got her work done, and, afterwards, she was all drugged up on the painkillers, and she was completely out of it, and, I took care of her for, like, that afternoon, and then I think at the end of the day, like 5 o'clock, she was still out of it in a super amount of pain, all bandaged up, and, I had to help her get a taxi, and we took a taxi, and I took her to, like, her dorm, but I couldn't go to the dorm because I wasn't a student. I don't know all the rules for Chinese universities. I don't typically date 20-year-olds. Um, so anyway, long story short, I got her back to her university, and that was the last time I ever saw her. But that was my first time in Changsha, Will. So I don't know. Have you seen a girl with great big boobs walking around? It might be her. Um, hello, Shan Z. Hi from SF. Go Giants. They're like 4 and 5 or something. Um, so let me get back to Din's Choi so I don't miss any questions. So I did talk about this at the top of the stream a little bit. I'm not working. I basically, yeah, just have retirement money in my investments. Um, I do make a little bit of money here and there. Like I said, I usually make like 300 or 400 bucks on YouTube a month, something like that. The best I ever made was like 1,000. Um, the worst I ever made was like 100 since my YouTube got monetized. I don't really put much work into it. I don't really try to make a lot of money from it. I'm not trying to be a famous YouTuber. I'm just trying to kind of keep myself busy. If I made money from it, great, but I don't want a lot of attention, so I'm cool with how it is. So let's say I make like $400 a month on YouTube. I also have some dividends, although I just drip them back into my accounts, but a few thousand here and there. But I can pull it out if I want, of course. And then I make some money as a white monkey. I talked about that a little bit. If anybody wants to know about that, we can talk about it. But I don't technically legally do this, so I don't do it anymore. Maybe I used to do it before. We can talk about hypothetically. Anyway, there's ways to make money. I also now sometimes sell covered calls. Like I have a lot of Apple shares that I bought a long time ago. So if I need income, I do sell some covered calls. I was selling some covered calls on my Neo position, but right now they're not worth anything. The calls are like, I don't know, you don't make any money with it. So no point. I'll just hold them and hope they don't go to zero. Um, there are plenty of ways to make money. I don't live a very complicated life. I don't spend a lot of money. So I think I'm okay in terms of income and that sort of thing. But if anybody wants to donate, you can feel free to help me out. Like I said, if you just joined us, I am going to Japan in like 2 days. I'm just going to walk around Japan for a month or two. I started that last year and I stopped for unforeseen circumstances. I'm going to go finish it. It's going to take me about 40 days maybe. So I'm just going to be walking. It's not going to cost very much money. That's the kind of thing I like to do. Um, yeah. Anyway, if you have expensive taste, then you got to work. If you have kids, you probably got to work. I don't have either of those, so I do okay. I'm fine. Uh, Johan has real estate and wants to make money with investments, passive income. I don't know. A lot of people talk about passive income. I don't necessarily think there is any such thing as passive income. I do have like, oh, I also have money, not money. I also have videos, like my drone videos I put up on like stock image or stock footage sites. Sometimes I make money from that, sometimes I don't. That's about the most passive thing I do because like I would shoot drone videos anyway because I enjoy it. And then sometimes like I think last month I made 150 bucks from stock video, but usually it's more like 20 per month. Barely make any money from that, but that's passive. I don't know how you can make passive money from your investments aside from dividends or covered calls, but that's not passive. Like what is I don't understand what passive is. Everything takes time and energy to do. You can write a book and hope it sells forever. One thing I did used to do when I had a job, like again, like 2013, 2014, when I was working in a law office, doing the immigration stuff, which I've talked about on my channel before, doing the green card business. There was a lot of downtime, and I used to write ebooks You would write like adult ebooks, like 50 Shades of Grey type stuff, short ones. Just because I was bored, I had nothing to do in the office for like half every day. They didn't make very much money. I thought it would be like a passive income stream. Um, no, not really. It was good because I was making money already because I was working. I was in the office. I wasn't doing it like outside of work. But for that, again, like I think the most I ever made was like $50 in a month, and then it dropped off. Like then it would go to like $30 and then $20 and then $10. Like you have to be writing a book or a short story every single week. And I didn't want to do that. I couldn't think of that much like smut to write about. So that wasn't that lucrative. There's nothing really passive. Everything takes time. Next question. Okay. Mustamarusu. I guess that's Japanese. Maybe I'll see you in Japan in a couple days. I've driven different provinces in China. Have I noticed any differences in local driving or traffic culture? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The absolute worst drivers in China are in Hainan. They are horrible, horrible drivers in Hainan. That's the island in southern China. They don't follow any rules. They drive like maniacs. They're always on both sides of the road. Um, so that's far southeast China. The other problem is far northeast China in Dongbei. They also drive like maniacs out up there. In Dongbei, there's a lot of places that have like terrible traffic lights. Like they might, instead of having a proper traffic signal like hanging or whatever, a pole, they might just have like a little temporary um like a little truck, like a car, like wheels and a light on it. It's just sitting there in the middle of the road, and nobody will pay attention to that. They just drive past it. So you have these giant, like 6-lane highways or eight lane roads from all directions in Dongbei, and just like it's a free for all. It's like destruction derby. People are driving on every side. They don't pay attention to the red light, the green light. They don't care. So that's pretty bad. Other than that, the good drivers definitely in like Shanghai, Suzhou, Hangzhou area, best drivers. Shenzhen's pretty good as well. Guangdong's pretty good. Basically, like the whole east kind of tier one city developed areas are really good. And also it helps because traffic is very, very slow in those cities. There's so much traffic. You can't really go fast. And there's also like center dividers in the roads in the big cities, and here in Shenzhen, definitely, in Shanghai, definitely. So you can't have people that go on both sides of the road. Whereas like in Dongbei, like I said, or Hainan, there's nothing stopping you from driving on the wrong side of the road, and people do it. So yeah, there's definitely a big difference in the culture of driving in different places. In terms of like far west China, there's not enough people out there for most of it to even make a difference. Like you be driving for an hour and see like 3 cars until you get to the city. So yeah, I don't know. The worst is absolutely Dongbei and Hainan. I wonder if you have any inputs on that. Okay, funny job offers. So yeah, let's talk about white monkey jobs. So if anybody doesn't know about a white monkey job, it's basically they used to have a lot of them. Used to be tons of them. It's basically like you can be a white person or a foreigner and just get a job pretending to be something or doing something you're not qualified for. I've talked about this before on my channel. I had a job that paid me like $10,000 to work for a car company long time ago. Um, Not quite a white monkey job, but very close because I was basically just like translating English to English for some Pakistani people to talk to some Chinese people. So that was a really good one. I can't talk about too much about that one. I did sign an NDA. Probably nobody cares about that NDA anymore, the non-disclosure agreement. But that was probably like 2016 or something. But yeah, I don't want to talk too much about that. But yeah, it was just like translating English to English. Pretty cool job. And then, so somewhat recently, again, hypothetically, there was a job that it paid me to go on like Taobao or one of the online shopping things. I'm not quite sure which one. I didn't really care. I didn't ask too many questions. I think I might have the thing somewhere still. It was one of those electric pulsing muscle, like ab contractors or bicep contractor things. They gave it to me to keep hypothetically and paid me some money to do that. So I basically was like, oh, this is it makes my muscles feel so sore, and I get a really great workout from wearing this thing 2 hours a day. I don't even know what I said. they gave me like the script and I just said it. Um, so I'm a sellout for those kind of things. I like doing that. There was one I mentioned earlier talking about factories. There was one, it was during COVID because there wasn't that many foreign people left, and they needed an actor to go to their factory and pretend to be like a buyer or something. And it was like a 5-minute like short film advertisement. And so I went to this factory and I actually had a black eye at the time because I was doing boxing and I had gotten a black eye. So I had to put a bunch of makeup on. Very embarrassing. But I had to go to this factory. And they paid me hypothetically a lot of money to do this for 2 days in Jiangxi province. And I went to this factory and I walked around and like said, "Oh, these tiles are so beautiful. They're just like the tiles from Europe or something like that." Because it was a tile factory. If you don't know, Jiangxi is the province that's famous for like porcelain, like Chinese China. I mean, in English we call it China, like the plates and stuff. Um, so they have a lot of like kilns and factories that they have kilns for tiles and bathroom goods and things like that now. That's their industry. So I went to this factory and I filmed this advertisement. It took like a full day of filming for a 5-minute ad. I had to like pull out tiles from the boxes and I look at them, inspect them, and say it reminded me of like a starry night sky because it has like lots of little textures in there and stuff. All this really stupid bull crap. Um, so hypothetically, I did that, and I felt really really bad because, like I said, it was like 2 days I was there, and all the people that work there, they live there in the dormitories, right? And they're horrible. I got to like see their dormitories. They're really really bad. People live like stacked like sardines on top of each other in the middle of like a remote village in Jiangxi. And like I was talking to them and asking them like their salary and stuff, and they get paid like I think it was 3,500 RMB a month. I asked, and I got paid much more than that for like a day of work where I was just like acting. And I know that's just how it is, but I do feel a little bit guilty. So I don't really love doing things like that. Uh, it's fun to do, but it's like it shouldn't be that way. Like these people shouldn't be working in like a 40-degree, 100-degree Fahrenheit hot kiln, like sweating. It's probably hotter than that. It was hot in there, but they're sweating and doing all this manual labor for like 3,000 RMB a month. And I just show up and like say some stupid BS about how the tile looks like starry night. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's not right. Anyway, yeah. Changsha got a lot better since they put fences to stop cars. Yeah, exactly. Just like in Shenzhen. That's what I'm talking about. All the major cities, they've put in those fences in the middle of the road so people don't drive like absolute morons anymore. But in Dongbei, they still do. I hope there's no Dongbei people watching. Okay, next. Is it hard to travel with a dog? Presumably talking about in China. Very, very easy to travel with a dog in China. I've been trying to get my dog to come with me to America for this past like I don't know month or so. I've been working on it because I want to go home in the summertime, and I don't think it's going to happen because it's like not just very expensive, but also like a huge pain in the butt. Like I can't even fly with the dog from Shenzhen. I would have to go up to Shanghai first. A lot of nonsense, not really worth it. Especially because after that, I'm not going to stay in America. I have to take the dog with me back to China or somewhere else. So that's a hard thing. But in terms of traveling in China with a dog, very easy. Most not most hotels, but a lot of hotels you can take a dog, or guest houses you can take a dog. Uh, you can just if you're not sure, you can call them up. If they say no, honestly, my dog's small. I just carry her in. Don't tell anybody that, but it's not that hard. She doesn't really bark that much. Nobody really cares. Like a person again making like 3,000 RMB a month to work a front desk at a hotel doesn't really care. And then like the Baoan, the security guard, also doesn't really care. Nobody really cares. Everything's pretty chill in China. Like despite what you may have heard on the news or the internet, most people are just like, wuso way, like who cares? No problem. Do what you want. So yeah, Shanklanks, yes, pretend to be an expert. That's a white monkey. You're just pretending to be an expert of something, anything. You're just being a white person or a foreign person. So Rick YouTube thing said he had a science TV show for 2 episodes in 2010. So yeah, those are the kind of things, especially back then. When I first came to China, so many awesome white monkey jobs available. Um, I'm sure you have some good stories about that. And Will, yes, people becoming scientists, yes, giving speeches, yes. These are the kind of things that make China very, very fun for for foreigners. So Johan's, your wife is from Jiangxi. Her brother makes about that much working for the government. So your wife's brother probably makes a lot more than that working for the government. Hopefully, with his hongbao that he gets from people. Hopefully, we'll see. Um, but at least working for the government, he kind of has like a steady like 9 to 5 type job. Most government workers don't work overtime. Um, I know that those factory workers, this in the tile factory, they worked like 6 days a week and probably at least 10 hours a day. So yeah, I'm sure your wife's brother also has probably a college degree or some sort of education, whereas those people are like farmers that just got a job in a factory to make some money. So yeah, I'd rather be the government worker for sure. No problem. Thank you for joining me. Of course, I really appreciate that. You're always here, Diago. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who's been with me on this little journey here. It's been fun. So yeah, what are we're coming up on, oh, an hour. My goodness. Does anybody have any more questions here as we celebrate my 20,000 subscribers and my beer that I haven't finished? Anything about China? Anything about life? Me? Um, YouTube? I don't know. Cars? I am not going to Beijing Auto Show this year. No, I am not. Tomorrow, Hotian on the 10th, I am going to Japan. I will be there for probably 40 days and hopefully lose a little bit of weight because I'm getting fat again. I haven't been going to boxing for like a month since I left Thailand. I went to Philippines. Getting fat again. Great Wall Motors. They asked me to live stream for them, yes, but no, I am not doing it. Yeah, that's another white monkey job right there. Like that's just you just show up and they barely give you any information and they say go wing it. Here's some money. But no, I'm not doing it this year. Yes, Johan, 10-year. What do the next 5 years look like for me? What is this, like high school counselor or something? 5-year plan. Good question. My next 5 years, I think that for this next year, I have a lot of traveling I'm trying to do, like 2024, going to Japan. In the summer, I'm going home to the United States of America because some family things. Like I mentioned, I wanted to take my dog, but probably not happening. But I'll probably stay in the States for a month or two. Then after that, probably, maybe, I'm not sure, but probably come back to China for a while. I would like to go to Europe again. I would like to go to Africa someday. I've never been to Africa. But it's hard, like we talked about a little bit about money and retirement and stuff. Like it's hard when you don't have an income, like a real income, like proper money. Like I have enough money to keep me like going, but I don't earn enough money obviously from YouTube or from other things I do to allow me to like travel in Africa for a month. Like I'm in China, I have a place to stay, I have everything I need here. I go to Thailand or Japan, it's very cheap. Even just to fly here to Japan is like $100, and then I'm gonna be walking every day and staying in guest houses is very, very cheap. Thailand, very, very cheap. In Thailand, I stayed for a month in February, $400 for a 1 month rental for a decent condo. Very, very cheap. And it's only like again like $100 or whatever to fly from China to Thailand. So living in Asia, staying in Asia is very easy. Philippines too, like 100 and I think $120 to fly to Philippines. It's not that expensive, and that's just like last minute flights. Like you can probably fly like Air Asia or Vietjet to all these places for like half the price. But I'm not really much of a planner, so a 5-year plan, no. Next few months, yes, traveling, hanging out with my family, go see my mom and my brother in the States, my cousins, all that stuff. Am I on Xiaohongshu? I do have Xiaohongshu, but I almost never post. I have Douyin, almost never post. I have Bilibili, almost never post. I have Weibo, never post. I haven't posted on Weibo in probably like 5 years. I basically have all the Chinese apps, but never post. I guess we can talk about before we go. I'll probably go here soon because it's getting late. But before we go, I'll probably talk about Chinese social media a little bit. I don't like posting on Chinese social media. If you saw the Ben Dan videos, you probably know why. You have to be very, very careful when you talk about China to Chinese viewers. Unless you're just only praising China 100%, you're gonna run into some trouble. And if you don't care about like people commenting mean things to you, then it's fine. And I don't really care, but I don't care enough to like to post it. And then I don't like, you know what I mean? Like people are gonna attack you. There's ultra nationalists in China online, especially. Let's step back 1 second. So I used to post quite a bit on Douyin. Actually, I had a lot of fans. I had over 20,000. A lot for me. I had over 20,000 subscribers, fans on Douyin 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. I didn't post a lot, but I posted enough. So much more fans than I had on YouTube. I was making content about my life in China, whatever. And a couple of things happened that made me stop. One is you would get the direct messages. I would get direct messages from Chinese people all the time, like hundreds a day. And if I wouldn't reply to them, so many of the people would like berate me and scold me and say like, "Oh, I'm an arrogant foreigner. I just wanted to be your friend. Like, why don't you want to be my friend?" All this stuff. And it's just like, I obviously I can't reply to every single person. I didn't reply to any of these people, but they thought like they're the only person messaging me or something, and I want to be their friend. I don't know who they are. I don't want to be their friend. I can't be friends with everybody. So that kind of bothered me about Chinese social media. And the other thing was, like I said, um, so first in the private messages, you have a lot of like people bothering you, and then second, on the public comments, if you don't say like the right thing about China, people are going to get very angry. And so for me, it just wasn't worth it. I wasn't making money from Douyin really. Like I got a couple like white monkey jobs from that too. Like one of them sent me to travel in Guizhou or something. So I was like a travel blogger, like some Douyin videos for a while. So that was cool, but it wasn't worth it. Like if they were paying me like $1 million or 1 million renminbi, okay, I'll do it, and I'll deal with the hassle. But like when you're like a small time vlogger or YouTuber or influencer or whatever the hell you want to call it these days, it's not worth it. You're not making enough money to deal with the hassle. At least I'm not. Like I want to have a stress-free life. That's why I'm not working. That's why I'm traveling. That's why I'm doing the things I do. So why do I want to add all this just nonsense to my life, right? So anyway, that's why I don't really post on that stuff, but I do have it. I wonder if anybody else has any experience. So like Johan, if you're on Xiaohongshu, do you post content and do you get any terrible feedback from from Chinese people or not? Shanxi, yes, I will be definitely in San Francisco. Probably in July. Probably in July. And I would love to go to a Giants game or two. So if you want to go to one, hit me up too. I'll be around. I'll probably post on YouTube at some point that I'm in America. So for sure, hit me up, send me an email. My email's on my YouTube channel. All right. Any other questions before we call it a night on this celebration? Let me finish my beer. Anything at all. I really do appreciate everybody being here and joining. I really appreciate everybody being a subscriber. I think it's pretty cool. Even, like I started YouTube. If anybody's seen my first videos a long time ago, they were very ambitious. I was trying to drive across China. That's why it was called Crossing China. My original name of my channel was Crossing China because I bought a Chinese tricycle, the motorcycle tricycle, Sanluncha, Laorencha. I bought one of those and I went with my friend and we tried to drive across China. Failed miserably, but we were very ambitious and it was a much different time for me and for I don't know, my everything, for everything. Um, I still think those are probably the best videos I ever made, my first, like, 3 videos, so go back and watch them. Because actually I was also working with my friend, Jeremy. He's a professional editor, video editor in Los Angeles and Hollywood. He does TV shows and stuff, and he's an awesome guy. He was my roommate in college. So he edited those first 3 videos for me. I'm a terrible editor. I hate sitting on my computer. I try to do it as fast as I can. It's the one thing I despise about YouTube is editing videos. I absolutely hate it. So if I was making money from this, I would hire an editor for sure. But since I'm not, I don't care. I just do it myself and edit as crappy as possible, as fast as possible. But those first few videos, I think they're really good. I think you guys should go watch them if you haven't. And yeah, it's been a long journey. I stopped posting for a long time, and then basically COVID happened. I had my cafe. I had nothing else to do. Started posting again, and people joined. And then the Neo thing happened. So I don't know. Okay, a couple more questions, comments. You're not on it yet, Johan. Your wife is. You're considering it, but you like life stress free as well. Yes, life should be stress free for sure, as much as possible. Um, that's basically my philosophy is don't stress myself out. I want to live long time, be healthy. And so any unnecessary undue stress, I just kick it to the curb. And that's really the main reason why I don't work. I worked in an office. I was a manager, had a decent, like 20 something people under me. I think I did a good job. I think it was, we did good work. I tried my best, but I worked so many hours. I was working like not just 996. I was working like every single day, all the time, going on business trips all the time. It was terrible. Anyway, there is a flag there. Sorry, there is American football community in China. Yes, Dens. There are teams that play actual tackle football. They practice. There's a Shenzhen team. There's a Shanghai team. I don't play football. I don't value my brain that much because I do boxing, but I definitely value it enough to not do football. Also, I'm just not good at football. I'm not fast. I'm old. I'm 39. But people do play. There's also rugby leagues. There's lots of stuff in China for foreigners. Actually, it's quite cool. You can do anything you want to do. Even there's batting cages. There's bowling. There's everything's in China. Yeah, thanks guys for watching. Thank you all for thanking me. Thanks for taking the time to be here tonight. Like I just said, Johan, I'm not sure which way to say it. I probably won't post much in Japan, if at all. I don't know. It's a pilgrimage that I'm going to be on. So I did last time when I was in Japan a year ago. I did post a little bit, but I think this time I'm not going to post while I'm in Japan. Maybe I will post at the end. I will film some stuff. I'm not really sure yet, but mostly since it's like a pilgrimage and more of like a personal thing, I think I probably won't make anything while I'm there. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel. But like I said, I do have like 5 videos that I've been working on trying to get edited and ready to pump out like at least once a week or once every 3 or 4 or 5 days while I'm gone. I got to schedule them. So there is some stuff, and I think some of it's pretty funny and pretty good. So we'll see. Hopefully you guys watch it. So thanks everybody. Thank you for joining me. And I really appreciate everybody for real. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to go to bed because it's 11:15 in the evening in China. And I usually, when I'm not doing my Neo podcast with Mr. P and Ting, and when I'm not doing this right now, I'm usually in bed by 10 o'clock. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day wherever you are. And thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out. Wow, it made balloons. That was cool.